there's a list that came out on on3.com, was also on the On3 Twitter page, talking through the top 10 players in all of college football heading into the 2023 season. Now, I want to break it down for you, 1 through 10. Here's what we got. At number 1, you got Caleb Williams. Number 2, you got Drake Maye. Number 3, you have Marvin Harrison Jr. Number 4, you got Brock Bowers. Number 5, we have Jared Verse. Number 6, Michigan's running back Blake Corum. Number 7, Harold Perkins. Number 8, Olu Fashanu. Joe Alt from Notre Dame is at number 9. Number 10, Kool-Aid McKinstry, the DB at Alabama. Now, this is the top 10 heading into the season from our staff here at On3. As we look to the future, though, I think there's a couple of these guys that are in good position to shoot up this list and finish a lot higher than where they are right now. Again, this is just a preseason list that the staff over here at On3 developed. I've got some thoughts on this, but really quickly, if you haven't yet subscribed to this program, we'd love to have you on the On3 YouTube channel. We'd love to have you subscribe to our party. Also, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Piquel. If you're a podcast person, maybe you're listening on podcast right now, we salute you. Whether you're driving to work, listening at lunch, however you're hearing this, we appreciate y'all locking in. Make sure you leave a 5-star review, subscribe, and all that. But we appreciate y'all bringing the juice on podcast, man. Podcast does not get enough love. Say it all the time. But back to this list, the pass catchers specifically. Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, Brock Bowers at 4. I think that we need to keep a really close eye on them. Brock Bowers is at 4. I wouldn't be surprised if he finished number 1. I wouldn't be surprised if Marvin Harrison finished number 1. The reason for that being, both of these cats are matchup nightmares, and that gets thrown around probably too loosely in modern college football, but that's just emphatically the truth with these two guys. Run like gazelles, are both 6'3" plus. That blend of size and speed that is just so difficult to account for, and the reason why you're seeing longer corners, the reason why you're seeing bigger safeties to try and account for a Brock Bowers and a Marvin Harrison Jr. They're going to have huge numbers this year, again, because they have a new quarterback in Athens, Georgia, and Columbus, Ohio. Maybe you're saying, wait a second. New quarterback, JD, wouldn't they have worse production because the guy throwing them the rock maybe isn't as capable? I could hear your argument there, but my thought process is, okay, you have someone who's really talented pulling the trigger, whether it's Kyle McCord or Devin Brown at Ohio State, whether it's Gunnar Stockton, whether it's Carson Beck, Brock Vandagriff at Georgia. You're going to have somebody who has a ton of ability at quarterback at both of those programs. And guess what else? They are going to depend on their safety blanket the duration of the season as a first-year starter. Like when things get crazy in Athens, Georgia, the play breaks down and Carson Beck has to scramble to his right and it's 4th down, you need a first down, you need a touchdown, whatever it is. Who is the football going to? It's going to your best player, Brock Bowers. Same situation in Columbus. It's going to your freak show, Marvin Harrison Jr., who won Freak of the Year, actually, for the program awards here on the Hard Count. If you know, you know. These guys are going to put up huge numbers this year. I think it could even be more so than what you saw a season ago because of what I just said. They are going to depend, whoever's playing quarterback, on these guys consistently. Also, both these dudes, I promise you, would be high draft picks if they were eligible right now. They're going to have a whole nother offseason to go through the strength conditioning programs at their respective schools to get more comfortable in their playbooks. I'd be surprised if Mike Bobo, the new OC at Georgia, I'd be surprised if it is not get Brock Bowers the football. I don't care how we do it. All right, that's going to be the playbook in Athens, Georgia. I just told you what they're going to do. The duration of the year. So Brock Bowers, Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3 and 4 right now. I would not be surprised in the slightest if they finished 1 and 2. Now on the defensive side of things, you got Harold Perkins at 7. You got Jared Verse at 5. Harold Perkins, just a freshman last year. Like a year and a half ago, my man's at prom. Instead, he goes and tears up the SEC a year after his high school career. I mean, he is a dude. I want to start with him. He can play so many places within this LSU defense. And credit Matt House, the DC at LSU, for finding a role for him. Because remember, number 40, Tasmanian Devil, he wasn't seeing the field super early in the year. Some of that could be, hey, we just got to find a spot for you. Some of that could be, we need you to get comfortable in our defense. But he is someone you can play at linebacker. You can play him at nickel and put him out in the slot. You can put him at stand-up defensive end. Like, he is so flexible for Matt House, that allows him to pick his matchups. Hey, Harold, this week, man, want you on the slot. We'll blitz you out of there. We'll put you in zone. That's the best place for you to play from. Or maybe it's, hey, Harold, this offensive tackle, man, he's not that fast, does not get out of his stance well. We like the matchup with you on this tackle. We're going to give you a couple of blitz packages during this game. To be able to move him around like a chess piece for LSU, you saw the benefit of that time and time and again for the Tigers, especially the Arkansas game. Like, that game was low scoring. It was cold. It was after a huge win for LSU. That was a huge letdown spot for the Tigers. And had Harold Perkins not just called game blouses himself, I think he had something like 2 forced fumbles. I think he got to the quarterback a couple of times. Like, he put on a clinic in that game. And you saw the way that they lined him up, the chess piece that he was as a freshman. That doesn't happen in college football. So to even be on this list as a freshman heading into his sophomore year says something. But what he could be for the future at LSU and this coming year, keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on Harold Perkins. There's going to be a lot of people during the offseason talking about a defensive player. Who would it be if they were to win the Heisman? Harold Perkins is going to be at the top of that list for the reasons I just mentioned. A special player, a special piece for that defense. Now, Jared Verse came from Albany. Mike Norvell doing what Mike Norvell does, goes to the portal, gets him a dude in Jared Verse, and Jared Verse popped this past season. Had a total of 9 sacks. And the defensive line for Florida State, Jared Verse included, wasn't always healthy. He played through pain, did Jared Verse. The scary thing that means for the opposition is he probably still has more in the tank. There's probably more that Jared Verse is capable of that we didn't get to see on tape in 2022. If Florida State accomplishes what they want to accomplish, winning the ACC, playing for the college football playoff, it will in large part be because of the efforts of Jared Verse. He's going to be a game wrecker this coming year. He's still getting acclimated to FBS football. He was playing at the FCS level at Albany. Okay, to make that jump is something in itself. Now to get a whole offseason under your belt, to go into the season as the guy, to not be the best kept secret anymore, even if Jared Verse doesn't stuff the stat sheet like I anticipate he will, even if for whatever reason he doesn't end up making a ton of plays, it'll be because teams are having to double team him. And you double team Jared Verse, somebody else is getting loose. Somebody else is getting to the quarterback. Just having him on this defense makes them better. The trenches will get better at Florida State this coming year just from being healthy. If he can stay healthy, Jared Verse, another guy that you will just have to account for. He's number 5 on this list, but he's going to be a problem, a huge piece for what Florida State wants to do in 2023 and will be a huge reason why they accomplish what they accomplish. So on the defensive side, those 2 cats, I'm telling you, keep an eye on them because they have a very strong potential to finish higher than they are at right now. Now, obviously, quarterback position, most important position in all of sports. And at 1 and 2, respectively, we got Caleb Williams from USC, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, and Drake Maye at number 2. Let's start with Caleb Williams. I don't know how you put him anywhere outside of number 1. To start the season, at least after coming back to school with a Heisman Trophy in his apartment in Los Angeles on the mantle. I'm sure it looks nice when he has company over and says, hey guys, that's a Heisman Trophy. Ever seen one of those? Didn't think so really quickly. I have to go to math class. Like, just a ridiculous situation to be in if you're Caleb Williams. And the question you would have for someone like him is, okay, well, how does he do for an encore in 2023? How does he do now? He's a ton of pressure. He's got a bullseye on his back. Y'all, I don't know if we adequately recall how he was being talked about heading into the season. There were a ton of people talking about Caleb Williams being a frontrunner for the Heisman Trophy before he even started a full season at USC. All the talk was what USC was capable of and how much pressure was on Caleb Williams. He had a bullseye on his back in Los Angeles before the year even started. So yeah, there's some pressure being the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, but I'm telling you, on the biggest stage, Caleb Williams just continues to deliver. And maybe your rebuttal to that is, well, hey, JD, look at what happened in the Pac-12 title game. Look at what happened in the New Year's Six Bowl game against Tulane. He didn't deliver there. Wrong. He did deliver there, actually. He was hurt against Utah and still put on a show. The thing that's going to hold USC back is USC's defense. I think Caleb Williams is more than capable of winning another Heisman Trophy. I'll just put that out there right now. I think that if you were to have a favorite that you were to bet on right now, Caleb Williams, it's fair to assume that he's that guy to beat, because he is that guy to beat. So I've seen him multiple times live up to the spotlight and shine in that spotlight. I'm not super worried about a drop-off for him in 2023. Now, Drake Maye is the one that I want to focus on. Does he have any other help around him? He's a special player. There was a lot of buzz around, is he going to get out of the portal? Or is someone going to poach him and make him jump into the portal and get him over to whatever other program that wants him? Special talent. I think the thing that could hold him back is who else is around Drake Maye right now? Who else is around Drake Maye that's going to be his go-to receiver? Or the defense was really bad last year. It's the reason why they didn't win the ACC. Like, Drake Maye is special, but he's only one player. Are we going to see his potential capped by the talent around him at UNC? I'm not knocking UNC. If you just look at the recruiting rankings, though, that's kind of the reality. UNC is really good, but we saw that the gap between UNC and Clemson is pretty sizable. I think the gap between UNC and Florida State also pretty sizable. So Drake Maye deserves to be at number 2. I am very curious to see how he plays this coming season with more pressure on him. He's a known commodity now. It's not going to be Drake Maye sneaking up on anybody. So again, the top 10 for us: Caleb Williams at 1, Drake Maye at 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, Brock Bowers at 4, Jared Verse at 5, Blake Corum at 6, who we didn't really get a chance to touch on. He's going to be a dog. Harold Perkins at 7, Olufashanu at tackle for Penn State is number 8. Joe Alt, also a tackle from Notre Dame, will be a high draft pick. He's at number 9. Then Kool-Aid McKinstry, the corner from Alabama, rounds out the top 10. I want to hear your thoughts on this, though. Get in the chat. Let me know what you think, and let us know who's left out of this top 10. Who are we not talking about yet? Maybe someone who's going to jump into the top 10 by the time the season really gets rolling here. But the top 10 players in college football, that's what they are right now. Those are my thoughts. Keep an eye on those guys. I think they have a really good chance to move up in those rankings. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.